So we're going to have a little fun conversation this afternoon. How many ate lunch? Everybody ate lunch, okay. What did you tell your digestive tract when you were eating lunch? Did you think about it? Did you say, here comes some protein and some carbs, and I'm sorry, a little heavy on the carbs and the fat maybe, no, you didn't actually think about it. It's one of these things that happens automatically, right? We put these things into our body, and we just assume that it's all going to work fine. So I want to just chat about that a little bit today, because digestive health is extremely important. If you think about it, we have a saying in Neolife, diet is what you eat, but nutrition is what your cells actually receive. You all know that? That is such a profound thought. Because you can eat all of the great stuff in the world that you want, but if you don't digest it, you're out of luck, right? It's just going to pass right through. Now, that's part of the 6 stages of nutrition: diet, digestion, absorption, circulation, assimilation when it becomes part of you, and then elimination. So I'm going to focus on diet, or rather on digestion here today, because you all just ate lunch, so it's a good place to talk. And I think that as you go around in the sales field out there and talk to people, it'll give you maybe some new things to talk to them about, to think about, okay? So lately, if you've been paying attention to the news at all, you've been hearing a lot about gut-brain signaling, right? We've been talking about it at the SAB level for a long time. And if you stop and think about it, your gut talks to you all the time, right? I have a gut feeling that things aren't going the way they should be, right? So, and if your gut gets upset with you, it lets you know in uncertain terms. It sends a signal that says, you stupid, what have you done to me this time? So that's not a surprise. But what we've learned as we dig into this is this whole idea of gut-brain signaling is about your microbiome and how it interacts with itself. And there are a lot of competing voices down there. There's the good microbiome and the not so good microbiome, and they're all yelling and screaming about something. Okay, so the question becomes, what's our gut telling our brain? What is it telling your brain? It's talking to you all the time. It's not like it ever shuts up. It's signaling all the time. Luckily, it's a subconscious thing, and we don't have to deal with it. But I can tell you what's happened for tens of millions of people around the world, and here in America. Your gut's giving you all bad news, okay? It's all bad news. If you look at this little chart here, in North America, that includes the Canadians for you guys that don't know that, and the Mexicans for that matter. In North America, we have 7% of the global population, yet we consume 37% of the gastrointestinal drugs. You know what they are. They're the things that are on the store that you see on TV all the time that says, it's okay to be a glutton, just take this product, okay? It's okay to overeat. And when you look back at the data that tracks to this, you'll find that the increased occurrence of this consumption of these things parallels the increase in obesity and the increase in diabetes. It's all connected to overconsumption, right? It's all connected to eating too much. Not only too much, but too much of the wrong stuff, okay? So we tend to people like to push the button. There we go. People like to just quiet the noise, right? They don't have time to deal with this. Just hush up. It's like they put a gag on your gut microbiome and get them to shut up. And they do that through these OTC drugs and prescription drugs, like antacids, proton pump inhibitors like Zantac or something like that, or what they call these H2 receptor blockers, like Prevacid and things like that. They're out there all the time. They used to be drugs that you couldn't get without a prescription, and then the pharmaceutical industry decided that, why not? Let's just let people medicate themselves, okay? And I think for millions and millions of people, they jump right into that pile. Now, I want to just put a caveat in here. If your doctor's telling you need these things, I'm not telling you to think otherwise. If you're dealing with a doctor for ulcers or some sort of inflammatory bowel disease or whatever, and they're recommending PPIs, listen to your doctor. But for millions of people, I think they jump into this idea of self-medication without thinking about the implications. They just think, oh, I'm going to grandma's house and I'm going to eat too much pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving, so I'm going to pop a couple extra Pepcid here and deal with it. But there are alternatives. And I think when you stop and think about it, well, what exactly are our tummy troubles? They break down into two basic categories. They break down into hyperacidity, which causes gastric reflux and things like that, which is where we apply all of these OTC drugs. And then on the other side of the equation, they get to the hypoacidity, where the acid is too low, or digestive enzyme insufficiency, where you just don't have enough to keep up with the load. Now, that can be because you overfed yourself, but day to day, it can still be a problem, because the important thing to note is, again, if you're not digesting the food you're consuming, you're not going to get the nutritional value in it. So how efficiently your digestive tract works, you don't know. You don't know whether you're getting 100% of the benefit of what you're consuming or 50% of the benefit. You have no way of knowing. Maybe your gut's telling you a little bit, telling you it's a little uncomfortable, or maybe you have the on and off sort of social alarms. That would be flatulence, or that is socially alarming, or whatever it might be. But people don't know, and I think that it's important that they take into consider the alternatives to the challenges that they face. So let's talk about, I don't want to deal with the hyper stuff, that's the medical community's deal, that's their deal. I want to talk about the hypo stuff, how to maximize the natural digestive capacity of your body, okay? Because it's naturally capable of digesting quite a lot. So let's talk about hypoacidity. In the stomach, it simply means too much food, and any grade of it, too much food and too little acid to digest it. So what does that mean? Now, acid really plays a very important role in your gut here. It's the first big step in breaking up the food you just ate. But if you have hypoacidity and not enough acid in your gut, you inhibit protein digestion, and that immediately starts you going down the wrong path. It impedes food particle breakdown, meaning that the foods you're consuming are not going to break down and release all of the nutrients they're containing. The carrots you just ate, for example, are not going to break down and release the carotenoids that are in there. Okay? It slows transit time, which means that the food stays in your stomach longer than it needs to, because your body has an ability to say, no, it's not ready to move on yet, and you end up with supply chain disruption. Okay, you saw what happened in COVID. Supply chain disruption meant you couldn't get anything, right? No toilet paper, no sanitary wipes, all that sort of stuff. So you don't want to disrupt the supply chain. The result of that is pain, discomfort. Everybody knows that. You've felt that. Your brain, your stomach has told you about that. But what they don't realize is that you lose a lot of nutritional value, and you lose a lot of the essential nutrients that you're consuming because they don't get broken down enough to be digested properly. And when all of that happens, it diminishes your immune capacity. Now, the acid in your stomach is the first step in the immunity that your gastrointestinal tract provides you, because if you happen to be a bacterium that works its way down there into that pH 2, pH 1.5 stuff, you're done. Okay, it's going to be all over. They're just going to get digested like any other thing that gets down in there. But when you don't have that acidity, when you don't have that protection, you lose some of your immune capacity as well. So now let's talk about what happens in the intestinal tract. In the intestinal tract, wrong button, sorry. There you go. In the intestinal tract, we have this thing called insufficient enzymatic capacity. Now, if you look that up, you're going to find that that is a diagnosable condition. Doctors will be able to analyze that and determine it. But there's a lot of sort of preclinical area for that, where you're not really clinically in a situation where you don't have enough enzymes, but you're still compromised in terms of your enzyme sufficiency. What that means is you're not getting enough protease, the protein digesting enzymes, or lipase, the fat or lipid digesting enzymes, or amylase, the carbohydrate digesting enzymes. It inhibits the digestion of those things and also the absorption. You can't absorb what hasn't been digested. You don't absorb the protein you consume, you absorb the digested portion of the protein, which is the amino acids, right? You don't absorb the complex carbohydrates, you absorb the simple carbohydrates, the simple sugars. So when that activity isn't there, when that enzymatic activity is compromised, these things are compromised as well. It means, again, you lost nutritional value, you lose essential nutrients, you lose phytonutrients, you create microbiome disharmony down here, because they get really upset when things go that way. Gas, diarrhea, pain, discomfort, all of those things that, just come along. Now, I imagine that all of us, these things apply to at some time, okay? Everybody has experienced these things, right? The two big challenges we face are overconsumption. You go to grandma's house and eat more than you should for Thanksgiving or throughout the feasting season, which starts in Halloween and ends in January. It's a good excuse to just overeat. And, so you get too much. And when you combine that with underperformance, not enough digestion, you end up with a lot of problems. Now, for big portions of the population who have run to the Pepcid counter or wherever, this is not where they should be. There are alternatives. That's anti-digestion. And Neolife is about pro-digestion. We know that you can support the natural digestive processes of the body if you understand them, and we've spent a lot of time learning to understand them. And we have these 4 products I want to tell you about now that I refer to as the power of pro-digestion. Betazyme, you probably all know. Acidophilus, fiber, and aloe vera. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one, why they're a little different, how we arrived at those formulas, and why people need to know about them. First, we have Betazyme, which is a complete digestive aid. It's everything that goes on in your digestive tract is supplemented in this product. The acid side of it, we have natural supply of acid from betaine, which is a natural acidifier, and it boosts the natural acid content. It won't cause hyperacidity. It can't cause hyperacidity. It won't break down in that sort of an environment. But if you're insufficient, it will release that hydrochloric acid into your stomach as you need it. It's naturally sourced plant enzymes, protease, lipase, amylase. So all of the things that you consume that you have to digest are supported by this product. Excuse me. It has broad spectrum, meaning that all of these plant-based enzymes are included, plus we include things like papaya and the like that contribute papain, which is a natural sort of digestive aid, protein digesting aid that you find in your body. What separates this, there's a lot of these sorts of products on the market out there. What separates us from them is the sourcing that we use, the way we deliver it. You can get a lot of, animal-based enzymes out there, not something that we wanted to include. And you can get a lot of sort of chemical-based digestive things, but not something that we put in here. But what really sets this product apart is our targeted delivery technology. The reality is that if you have enzyme supplement, if you put that into your stomach, your body's going to treat it just like any other protein and try to digest it. It isn't going to survive to get into the intestinal tract. So years ago, when we were working on the development of our artificial stomach, one of the primary goals of that was to understand how to get things past the acidic portion of the stomach and deliver it into the intestinal tract for the benefit it would provide there. This was one of the first products we did that, was our enzyme digestive aid. And that technology, which we've proven over and over, it's actually something we've been doing for probably most of 40 years now, something we still do today and have improved along the way. That technology allows us to deliver things right to the site where they're needed. So those enzymes that would succumb to stomach acid normally pass right through and end up in your intestinal tract, where they open up and start doing their job there of digesting things that are in the body. And it's in a very convenient pack. Now, this is a great product. Anybody who doesn't know about this product or doesn't believe in its benefit, talk to Charlotte Shelton. Because every time I go to lunch with her for years and years, and when Chuck was around for years and years, you sit down to lunch and she hands you a pack of Betazyme, right? Because she knows you're about to eat too much of the wrong stuff. No. She knows that helping digestion is always good. So now let's talk about acidophilus a little bit. You know, we heard about acidophilus this morning. Dr. Abby did a great job of explaining that whole situation. Isn't she wonderful, by the way? Yeah, a real find. A real find. Acidophilus has 5 beneficial microorganisms. The reason they have those 5 is because those are the most clinically documented and clinically confirmed and proven varieties of acidophilus. They're concentrated active cultures, meaning that we are able to compress them down into little tiny bundles and able to deliver them so when they're in the right environment, they grow very quickly. Again, this is a targeted delivery technology product. If you think about it, acidophilus, if these things don't survive the stomach acid, they're not going to get down to where they need to be. That's just the way it works. With yogurt, if you consume enough yogurt, you'll get some of those will survive just from the mass. But for dietary supplementation of these things, if they're not protected somehow, they're not going to get there. And in our case, we have this gel guard technology where we enrobe the organisms, the acidophilus, in a carbohydrate matrix. And that carbohydrate matrix is acid sensitive, okay? Meaning that when it arrives, when the acid comes in contact with it, it forms a gel. And that gel is pH sensitive. So as the acidity diminishes as it moves into your upper intestinal tract, where the pH is much higher than it is in your stomach, that gel dissolves and releases those organisms. It's cool technology. It's cool technology, something we pioneered a long, long time ago. That was thanks to Dr. Shepard and his work over in Europe. But it's something that stands out about our products everywhere you go. If people don't take that into consideration, they're just fooling you. Okay? Great, great, great product. Wonderful technology. It includes lactase because a big portion of the population is lactose sensitive or lactose intolerant, and we wanted to take that into consideration. And it's very powerful. A single capsule is equal to 10 servings of acidophilus-rich yogurt or 5 servings of acidophilus milk. I don't know, did they still sell acidophilus milk? It was a thing back in the 80s, 90s, but I don't know today. But very, very powerful product. Now the next one here is Aloe Vera Plus. Aloe Vera, this is another great product. It's a soothing agent, calming, soothing digestive tract. You can get inflammations and things going on in your digestive tract that really upset the works. And this product was developed at the University of Texas by a friend of mine, Ivan Danoff, Dr. Ivan Danoff, years ago, where he was working with people who had gastrointestinal disorders and using, like Crohn's, and using aloe vera to calm those inflammations and so on. So we tapped into that scientific knowledge and built this product. It contains only the highest quality of the pure gel. You don't want whole leaf aloe vera because it contains a lot of things that are actually irritants to your gastrointestinal tract, not calming agents. It's infused with black tea and ginseng and some chamomile and some lemon. It tastes really, really good. I keep some in the refrigerator, and it's hard to keep in the refrigerator because my wife and I tend to want to drink it every day. So, and it's mildly sweetened. It's just one of those wonderful, refreshing products. And finally, I want to talk about supporting health and regularity in your gastrointestinal tract because, you know, if that's not working well, if you're not moving things through there, you're going to be having some real problems. Okay? And most of the people who suffer from those problems do so because of a lack of fiber in their diet. Fiber is the mechanism by which peristalsis and all of those things contribute to the elimination process, right? So, all natural fiber supplement, balance of all 5. There are 5 forms of fiber in human nutrition and the foods that we're supposed to consume. I see the slides slipped around. Cellulose, hemicellulose, gums, pectins, and lignans, just for the record. They're all derived from food fibers. They're not derived from chemicals. They're not, you know, ground up telephone poles or anything like that. You might think that's funny, but there are people out there who suggest that they use wood chips to make fiber for people. They're very smooth and tasty. I use it a lot. Sometimes, you know, my wife will make some soup and I'll tend to put some of this in it just to give it some texture and smooth it out, and I'll use it on breakfast cereal and things like that. It's concentrated. A 21-gram serving delivers 1 gram of soluble fiber and 5 grams of insoluble fiber. The soluble fiber is the one that tends to grab the cholesterol and haul it out of your body. The insoluble one gives it more bulk and helps with the elimination process. So what I wanted to just point out to you, because you all ate lunch and you can all experience this yourself, is that the idea that you can put things in your body and forget about it is not a thing. Your stomach or your gut will tell you when it's unhappy. Okay? That gut-brain signaling, we've known about it forever and ever. Science is getting more and more specific about what those signals are and how they drive cravings. Cravings are real things. That's a message from some element of your gut microbiome telling you that they demand that you give them something that they want. It can be ice cream, sugar, whatever it might be. And this whole idea is that people tend to not pay attention to their digestive health and sort of flee into the drug counter to deal with the problems they encounter, when it's really simple. If they had just maximized the natural ability of their body to digest things, it wouldn't be a problem. Thank you very much.